afternoon, everybody. We are starting the session. See, today we have Ramanan sir with us. Ramanan sir is the mission director of the Atal Innovation Mission, a flagship national innovation initiative of the Prime Minister and the Government of India under the NITI AAYOG. AIM's goals are to establish and promote a vibrant culture of innovation and entrepreneurship nationwide. As the mission director of AIM, Ramanan sir has been instrumental to date in the launch and execution of several nationwide innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives, resulting in 10,000 plus Atal tinkering labs being established in schools nationwide, with 5,000 plus operational in 650 plus districts, and over 2 million students having access to innovation tools and technologies like 3D printer, robotics, miniaturized electronics of do-it-yourself kits. 1 or 2 Atal incubation centers being established in university industry fostering startups. 24 Atal New India challenges to stimulate product innovations along with the ministries of India. One of the largest mentorship networks with over 10,000 plus registrations nationwide, aim to mentor young school students and startups in the tinkering labs and the incubators. So welcome Ramanan sir. You can take over the session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rani, and good afternoon to everybody who is on this call. First of all, I hope that every one of you is safe and healthy and also practicing the safeguards of COVID-19 advocated practices. We are living indeed in unprecedented times, very difficult times, and I'm sure every one of you is taking the necessary precaution to be able to quickly address the challenges of this COVID-19 as well as be able to overcome it. I'm sure in a very short period of time, some curative solution or a vaccine would be found that would bring an end to this crisis. But at the same time, this has given us all an opportunity to reflect upon what we should do together, all of you who are on this call and beyond. What can we all do together, not only to address the challenges of this crisis, but also how do we position our country going forward? And all of you who are part of 1.3 billion people in our country, we are very fortunate in our country to have what is known as a demographic dividend. We have more than 65% of our people under 35 years old. So we have something which many countries are envious of, and that is a youthful workforce which is going to remain like this. We are going to remain one of the youngest countries over the next decade or even 20 years. And secondly, we are a country which is working together to scale up the economy. In fact, we have been one of the fastest growing economies of the world, as all of you are aware. India has been growing at 6 to 8% and was poised for even faster growth before this crisis came, the COVID-19 crisis descended upon us. So we are a fast-growing economy, and a fast-growing economy is important for a young demographic dividend to be able to take advantage of in terms of the opportunities that it opens up for our young people. And also we are living in a world where technology is changing the shape of the world. It is changing the way you are experiencing the world and the way the world is experiencing you. Our technology is becoming advanced, it is becoming affordable, it is becoming available, and it is accessible to everybody. And these technologies are able to reshape many things that we thought were impossible just 10 years ago. We have great advances happening in communication technologies, whether it is 3G, 4G, or the upcoming 5G technologies. We are having great improvements in cloud services and web services, which is ushered in a completely new digital revolution and digital transformation that is sweeping the length and breadth of our country. We are having technologies like 3D printing, which is enabling you to conceptualize, design, develop products right in front of your eyes. We are having technologies like robotics, which is changing the way productivity and automation was being introduced in our manufacturing floors, in our offices, and so on. We are having communication systems and wireless systems, communication technologies, and advanced transportation systems, which is enabling us to re-visualize the way we can do mass transportation and we can do efficient transportation in the most climate friendly manner. We are talking about electric vehicles, we are talking about renewable energies, solar energies, biogas generated energies. All of these are very, very important as we move along. And we are also having technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and all the other algorithmic technologies which are coming in, bioinformatics, genetic technologies, which are changing the way you can conceive of healthcare, which is changing the way you are able to take decisions based upon the IoT technologies or the sensor technologies that is getting integrated in every aspect of the world, whether it is man, machine, device, whether it is houses, whether it is the roads, whether it is the smart cities, whether it is smart metering, whether it is surveillance systems. IoT and sensor technologies are enabling the embedding of man to machine and machine to machine communications, and is enabling us to be able to take very important decisions and conceive of new applications. So we are living in a world in India today where three things are to our advantage: the demographic dividend that we talked about, the fast growing economy that we were talking about, and the technology changes that are happening and which can help us to reimagine the world. And therefore, the Atal Innovation Mission was launched by the Government of India as an important step in how can we create and promote an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country. As all of you are aware, we have never lacked for great innovators or engineers, great scientists, great doctors, great physicians, great artists or sculptors in India. Historically, this is a 5,000-year-old civilization where we have abounded in intellectual capability, in artistic capability, in manufacturing capability, and so on. But over the last 15 to 20 years or since independence, we did take a step back because of various political reasons, because of the various invasions that happened, and we had a setback. But we have fundamentally the most important ingredients of innovative capability, of intellectual horsepower, and the demographic dividend, the technology dividend, as well as the fast growing economy at our doorstep today. And therefore, the Atal Innovation Mission has been formed. How do we create this ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship in India so that thousands of Indians don't have to go abroad searching for that innovation ecosystem, searching for ability to realize their potential? What we want is solutions, an ecosystem in India where you can have 1,000 Satya Nadellas bloom, 1,000 Sundar Pichai's bloom, because that is the capability in our country. After all, one of the most famous scientists of the world and the previous president of our country, Abdul J. Kalam, came from where? He came from a humble town of Rameshwaram, a small town where you have hardly few schools, probably one university, if not any, and then you have number of fishing boats, you have churches, and you have mosques, and you have many number of temples. That's the place. But even from such a place came an intellectual giant, and that intellectual giant refashioned India's advent into nuclear technology, into missile technology, and was able to visualize a future that was absolutely beyond what somebody could conceive sitting in a town of Rameshwaram. But that is the potential of our country. And he said one very famous thing. He said, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you will achieve small things. So we are often limited by our own ability to dream and go and set out and achieve that dream. Now, at this point in time, all of you who are part of the MSME industry must be wondering, how can we go forward with this COVID-19 crisis that has struck us? And indeed, it is a crisis of epic proportions. It is indeed a crisis which has suddenly descended upon us without any warning, and it has paralyzed the entire machinery, not only of the government, but also of the private sector. We are all in a lockdown phase today, and the lockdown has had, of course, an impact on the economy of our country. And we are not alone in this. It has created an impact for the entire world. So we are, in a manner of speaking, Today, we have the opportunity with all the positive things that I talked about to resurrect our economy, to address this challenge, and to be able to move forward at a pace, setting an example for the rest of the world. And why do I say this? I say this because of the fact that we are such a large country with diverse needs. We are a country of 600,000 plus villages. We are a country with 733 districts. We are a country where you have only 8 tier 1 cities, but we have 100 smart cities which have been identified in our country for further growth. We have one of the fastest growing mobile ecosystems anywhere in the world. We have been among the fastest to launch digitalization in our country, more than anywhere else. The Jan Dhan movement or the JAM Trinity that we are talking about, where we have opened more than 300 million bank accounts just in the last 1.5 to 2 years. We have Aadhaar, which is the basis of unique ID, enhancing the application repositories that we can develop, the number of applications with which we can integrate every nook and corner of our country, every Kirana store, every MSME in the industry. And we have mobile technology, which has become so advanced and the cheapest mobile communication technology available anywhere in the world. So this combination is something that all of us should see how we can leverage together in order to position our country for the future. And in this, I think the PM's, honorable prime ministers and the finance ministers resurrection package of 20 lakh crores for the industry is a boon that we all have got, and which we should, every one of us should see how we can leverage it for the future. You see, the opportunity that we have in India at this point in time, for example, in Atal Innovation Mission, we are coordinating a search for COVID-19 solutions across the country. We have more than 30,000 startups in our country. And that's an amazing development. We are known as a startup nation of the world. How do we ensure that these 30,000 startups get supported and get to a point where we are able to produce solutions that will have national impact, both economic impact as well as social impact? That is the challenge in front of us. And the Honorable Prime Minister in his package brought it out beautifully as the 5 pillars in which we should base the resurrection of our economy. First and foremost is the economic pillar. We all want to make sure that once the COVID-19 crisis is taken care of, and by the way, I want to share, I am coordinating a committee between DBT, DST, Startup India, Invest India, Atal Innovation Mission, all these government departments, for searching for COVID-19 related solutions at this point in time. And we were amazed to find that more than 1,500 ready to deploy solutions were offered by the startup community just in the last 21 days. Now, these solutions are solutions related to testing, test kits, they are PPEs, personal private equipment, masks, face masks, ventilator equipment, all access to test labs, solutions which are software solutions like contact tracing and tracking and tracing COVID-19 patients or infections across the country. And we have created a consolidated list out of these 1,500 plus solutions, more than 150 solutions which are being actively looked upon, not only by the government, but also by the private sector, because the private sector has come together. This is one of those unique times, historic times, when not only academia, but government, industry, industrial associations, and private companies, private sector, as well as MSME companies have all come together in order to address the COVID-19 crisis. And we have also solicited the support that is required by many of these startups in order to be able to deploy these solutions and to be able to scale up the solutions. Now, what is the most encouraging part is that our startup community has responded beautifully to this entire situation. The MSME community has responded, the startup community has responded, and that shows the power of acceleration when you have both the government and the industry and the startups all converging together in order to boost the growth of our country, in order to address the solutions of our country. And so now with the Prime Minister's package, the 5 pillars that he talks about are very, very important, and I just want to spend a little more time on that. Here, the first pillar he talks about is economic resurrection. We have to resurrect our economy. And India is very fortunate that we are one of those few countries where not only you have the supply of capability and capable resources, but we also have the demand. That is why many countries are flocking to India. Many companies are flocking to India. They see India as a huge market. There's 1.3 billion people whose needs are many. And we are also a country where the middle class and the middle economy is constantly increasing. Our middle class economy is greater than the size of the United States. So the demand of our economy is very high. And we have to see how to leverage this demand by creating solutions, by creating innovators, by creating entrepreneurs who are going to be able to address this demand. The second pillar is infrastructure. You see, we are a country, like I said, with only 8 tier 1 cities. But we need to ensure this COVID-19 crisis has demonstrated to us one thing, and that is uniform development of the country across the 733 districts. Now, that is a big opportunity for every one of us. How do we ensure that each of the districts becomes self-sufficient, becomes self-resilient, becomes self-reliant? And if they have to become that, you have to have access to digital transformation in all of these places. You need solutions. You need job entrepreneurship and job creation capabilities in each of these districts. We want the 100 smart cities which have been identified by our country to become vibrant job entrepreneurial and job creation places. For that, there is a need for innovation, there is a need for entrepreneurship, there is a need for the MSME industry to contribute greatly, not only to the large companies, but to the needs of the society in all these small districts and small villages. We have 600,000 villages. So we have to have not only the physical infrastructure to be able to resurrect the economy, but we should also have the digital infrastructure to enable connectivity. And we should bring affordable solutions for the bottom of the pyramid, solutions which can only be generated by the MSME industry into being. So there is a huge opportunity for the MSME industry to participate in this revolution that is going to take place in the next 5 to 10 years. And we have got the right economic boost by the 20 lakh crore package that has been announced by the Honorable PM and the Finance Minister. So we need to see how to set up the necessary infrastructure, the communication infrastructure, the healthcare infrastructure, the affordable housing infrastructure, the distributed water management and clean drinking water sanitation infrastructure. In all of these, the access to good healthcare, the access to good education, irrespective of whether the district is a hilly district, a tribal district, a coastal district, or a metro district. The third opportunity for us in all of this is technology-driven innovation. As I mentioned earlier, technology is playing an integral part in every innovation that you can dream of. And we in India are very fortunate. We have 1.4 million schools. We have over 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. So all of these can become the hubs of innovation and entrepreneurial development, supporting the MSME industry and supporting the large industry. So we need to ensure that technology is leveraged to its hilt. I mean, if you need artificial intelligence, no better country than India to leverage artificial intelligence, because we have the volume, we have the data, we have the feeds of data, and we have the ability to process that and make it very useful for our country. We need to implement blockchain related technologies for land management and hospital management and infrastructure management. So we have a great opportunity in leveraging technology for the purpose of growth and development and setting up the necessary infrastructure. The fourth pillar is the demand pillar. We have demand. You see, we don't need to depend upon anybody else from the rest of the world. We are a country which is rich in natural resources, whether it is agriculture, whether it is water, whether it is mining resources, and so on. India is a land of plenty. We have forests, we have great agricultural capability, we have wonderful hills and mountains from where a rich set of resources are available. We are in a naturally salubrious climate. So these are all to our advantage. How do we leverage this advantage? We are a land of rivers. We have water supply in plenty. How do we ensure that this water supply gets uniformly distributed for the benefit of our country? And so these are all the pillars that we talk about, that the Honorable Prime Minister has talked about, are something that is of tremendous benefit, and upon which the growth of our industry stands, upon which the growth of our economy stands, and upon which the growth of our society stands. The Gadkari ji in his many addresses has said that we want to aspire, we are now 30% of our GDP is generated by the MSME industry, and we want to be able to move into a 50% contribution to GDP from the MSME industry, and that is very much possible. In fact, India has to become a land of innovation and has to become a land of entrepreneurship in order to be able to meet not only its current demands, but the future demands of India as well as the rest of the world. And any solution that we create in India is also a solution for the rest of the world. And this is why the Atal Innovation Mission has created a number of initiatives. At the school level, we have created Atal Tinkering Labs. Now, why, you may ask, why Atal Tinkering Labs? Atal Tinkering Labs are in order to introduce our young children between grade 6 to grade 12 into modern technology, into knowing how you can use modern technology to solve problems that you see in and around your community. Our schools have been focusing mostly on rote learning. We are always encouraging our children, our students, get good marks, get into a good university, get good marks again, go to a university abroad, get good marks and join a company, whether it is IBM, Google, Facebook, TCS, Wipro, and so on. We are training our children to be job seekers, but the need of our country is we have to train them to become job creators. We need to train them to become job problem solvers. We need to encourage them to become innovators. We need to ensure that they become entrepreneurs, because we want millions of entrepreneurs to flower out of our country. That is the opportunity for every entrepreneur. And today, we are not in a situation where taking on an entrepreneurial role is a risky role. It is no longer as risky as it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago. When I was studying in school, nobody talked of innovation. When I went to college, nobody talked of innovation. Nobody talked of innovation when I even joined the IIT, or when I graduated and joined a company. We all were wanting only good marks and get into a good job, a government job or a private sector job, and so on. But today, the training has to be, you can become a problem solver. You have the capability. You are inherently an innovator. Every one of us is an innovator, a born innovator. But how do you bring that to the surface is what is very important. And therefore, the Atal Tinkering Labs is going to play a huge role in converting a rote learning mindset into a problem solving innovative mindset. We have launched almost 5,000 tinkering labs across the country. And more than 2.5 million students are currently using Atal Tinkering Labs. And by the end of this year, we'll have 10,000 tinkering labs fully operational. We've actually selected 14,000 schools across the country, and we have covered all the 660 districts. Out of the 733 districts, 660 districts are already having Atal Tinkering Labs. The second initiative that we have launched in Atal Innovation Mission is to set up world-class incubators. We want the MSMEs and the startups to come in plenty, and therefore they need incubators to be able to support them during the early stages of the startup life cycle. So we have launched over 100 incubators across the country, and each incubator would foster 25 to 30 startups, and these 25 to 30 startups would be able to then generate employment and create new jobs, patented innovations. And the whole idea is we want to create world-class startups with world-class incubators in our country. We want hundreds of unicorns to be born. In fact, India has one of the fastest growth of unicorns, as many of you know. India has more than 28 unicorns today, and it has really multiplied by several factors in the last couple of years. Last year alone, we got more than $10 billion of investment into the startup world from the private sector. So it shows that FDI, private equity are very keen in order to support the startup sector. The third initiative we have launched is what is known as Atal Community Innovation Centers. We are launching more than 150 Atal Community Innovation Centers across the country. Now, this is to serve the unserved, underserved regions of our country. The Atal Community Innovation Centers will be set up only in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities or in the remote districts of our country which are not being served, so that the benefits of innovation, the benefits of MSME growth can happen through these community innovation centers. The community innovation centers will become hubs where you will address the needs of the local community. If a community innovation center is in a tribal district, it will see how you can create MSMEs, promote innovations to harness the capabilities of that tribal district, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in horticulture, whether it is in tribal crafts or e-commerce, bringing relevant innovations to that community so that new jobs can be created there and the people don't have to run to a Tier 1 metro in order to find jobs. Number two is it will also become a place where you can acquire new skills. You see, the MSME industry and the startup industry and the people in local communities have to acquire new skills, modern age skills in technology, as well as 21st century soft skills that are required in order to survive. So these community innovation centers will also become hubs of skill development for schools, colleges in and around that community innovation center, for the ITIs which are located around the community innovation center. And finally, there is a lot of jugaad innovation that is happening in our country, in the MSME sector, in the startup sector. These community innovation centers will help in converting that jugaad innovation into systemic, reliable, technology-driven, scalable innovation. So that's the purpose of the Community Innovation Center. And then we are launching what are known as Atal New India Challenges. And these New India Challenges are to create products from these startups, from the MSME industries, in order to service the economy, the national economy, or service the society. So there will be both social innovation related challenges and economically driven challenges. We already launched 24 challenges. We have selected 52 winners, and we will be launching another 100 challenges over the next 5 years. And these challenges, there is one advantage of responding to this challenge. If you have a solution that meets the challenge, not only you will be able to get 1 crore of grant from the government to convert that into a commercially deployable product, but also the government will become a buyer of your solution and you will become a preferred solution provider for the government because the challenge came from the government sector, from the ministries. And finally, we are launching what is known as ARISE, Applied Research and Innovation for Small Enterprises. This is specifically targeted towards the MSME industry to stimulate innovation in the MSME industry. Here, there will be 2 phases. Phase 1 will be where you are given, you can convert an idea into a prototype and you will get a grant of anywhere up to 1 crore in order to be able to convert an idea to a prototype for a challenge that is thrown to the MSME sector in a particular vertical. And secondly, the second phase will be to convert that prototype into a product. Now, these are all the various initiatives that Atal Innovation Mission is launching or has already launched, and you will surely hear more about it. You can see all of this in the Atal Innovation Mission website. But I think the important thing now is for all of us to collectively look at the opportunity that is there in front of us. And if you are closely following what is happening through various departments of the government as well as through the industry, several challenges are being thrown to every one of you so that you have an opportunity. If you have a solution, an innovation, an idea, then you can convert that idea and your imagination into a product that can be bought and that can be sold and that can help set up your own enterprise. So the opportunities are many post-COVID. Post-COVID, we have to look at how we are not only going to ensure uniform development of the country, we have to address the supply chain management solutions. We need to have a very efficient supply chain management. We need also to ensure that there is a uniform development of agri-tech, biotech, healthcare, education, all of which can leverage technology and digitalization. These are all possibilities in front of us, and therefore we have to take this opportunity by the very seize this opportunity and make sure that we are able to not only prosper our own communities and your own families, but also that of the society and for the world. So with this, I will now open it up to questions and from all of you. But I do want to say, I want to remember Swami Vivekananda's great words. He said, "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goals are reached." I think we should all arise, awake, and stop not until our country achieves a level of economic self-sufficiency, economic growth, and societal growth that is characteristic of India, and that should be Bharat created. So with that, I open it up to questions to all of you.
So participants, you can ask your questions if any.
Hi sir, this is Dipesh Thariwal. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you. Go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
So just wanted to know about the recent policy, a brief about the recent policy on recent innovation centers that could be established. Either it may relate to teaching of kids right till the employment stage, where we can also teach students as well as the college going students. Is there a possibility of setting up such an innovation center, and how does it really work?
So the Atal Community Innovation Centers that I talked about, there is an application process by which you are able to apply for Atal Community Innovation Center. And I think those applications are open at this point in time. So in that, you have to give a proposal regarding how you are going to leverage that Community Innovation Center, not only from to address, I mean, the scope of the Community Innovation Center can be pretty wide, but essentially it should result, it's an outcome oriented innovation center. So there should be an applicability of the innovations that you're able to create from that center to the needs of the local community. Now, in order to identify such innovations, you of course have to focus on skill development. You have to have tinkering lab as a part of the community innovation center. You need to have challenges that you should be throwing so that people will respond to it with solutions, and then you should be able to nurture them to a point where that solutions can be piloted and tested, and then we will attach them to the larger incubation centers of ours to be able to convert that innovation into a startup. And for this purpose, the government is giving up to 2.5 crores of grant to every applicant who successfully wins an Atal Community Innovation Center. And you have to bring in 2.5 crores of your own grant money through either the applicant's institution which is applying, or it can be in partnership with private sector through CSR funds. So that's the way this is modeled, so that there are multiple stakeholders to ensure the success of the Atal Community Innovation Center.
Okay. So, but a follow-up question, does it require any kind of prior experience? That is part one. And second is, how do we, I guess it would be teaching of more of 21st century skills. It would be related to that, I guess. So how do we
Yeah, yeah.
get the talent, how do we get the people who can help us deliver their respective curriculums?
So that, I mean, that's where the applicant is selected. It is based upon how he is able to create a set of partnerships. So the applicant has to bring forward that partnership. We cannot be, we can of course help and point you in certain directions in that, but it is the applicant who has to take that initiative of building the set of partnerships that are required, and that is available. Most of the applicants who have successfully applied, they have either part of a university ecosystem and or they have had university as a partner, or they have had a private sector as a partner to be able to bring forward both the skill development capability as well as the industry knowledge that is required in order to create the innovation. So the ball is in the applicant's court. But I think today with digital technology, available and expanding your reach, the ability for you to rope in multiple partners is not so difficult. And all the 24 who have been selected so far have done an outstanding job in bringing not only the partners, and they're all in remote centers. They are not. It's not like in Delhi or Bombay or something like that. They are in tier 2, tier 3 cities like Coimbatore or even some of the districts like Tirupur and so on. We have got applications from that and selected them.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. This is Kalpana Yuvraj here. I have been running an art and design incubation center for 2 years now in Nungambakam, and we have a set of people who are coming and practicing art there. Do we get a chance to enroll in this program, and in case we tie up with that IIT incubation center?
Sure, it should not be a problem. For the Atal Community Innovation Center, the only requirement is it should not be in a tier 1 city. It can be in a tier 2, tier 3, or any other remote district.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So this is Biju here from Bangalore. One quick question on so all these innovations that are being created, who will own the IP for this? Will it be the people who are generating the idea, or will it belong to the Atal mission? How is it?
No, it will completely belong to the innovator. Atal Innovation Mission will not hold the intellectual property of all of that. In fact, we are very conscious and we want to encourage that the innovator should have the IP. It is not even the Community Innovation Center or the incubator who can have the IP, because we are facilitating them. We are giving them grants to be able to encourage the startup and the innovation world. And therefore, the IP will rest and should rest only with the innovators, with the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir.
Afternoon, sir. This is Vandana Runta from Mumbai.
Yes.
So, Atal Innovation Center doesn't apply to us since we are tier 1 city. I myself run a community wherein there are n number of entrepreneurs from various fields. People like us who run such communities come across a lot of innovative solutions, something which would be a great help to the Indian economy right now. How do we guide them properly so that the government can access these kind of innovations and we can help the innovator also come across to you?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned a very important point. The whole idea of setting up all this community innovation center is not only for the community innovation center to create innovations, that is one part, but the other important part is if there are innovations already created somewhere else, like what you're talking about, then we want that to become a platform for implementing that innovation and for bringing benefit to that local community. And so the whole idea of the Community Innovation Center is that we want them to be the hubs where innovations created elsewhere, and it could have been created in a tier 1 city, it could have been created in Mumbai for that matter. It doesn't matter where the innovation has been created, but the Community Innovation Center can be used to implement that, pilot that innovation in their community as long as it is applicable there. And then we would, because we are forming a network of community innovation centers and Atal incubators and so on, so any innovation will find expression in multiple places through this network, because the word will get along, the opportunity will be shared, and so the innovator who has created the innovation, his reach increases through this network of community innovation centers.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, my name is Abir Mozumdar. I'm calling from Calcutta. I have a startup on the service sector, which is called the Idea Factory. We basically deal with ideas, but we don't have a product. I mean, it's kind of an advisory service, but we do not have the product. I mean, we will not be able to roll out a product according to our ideas, but we can deal with a lot of suggestions and ideas. So is there a way that we can connect to the central function, your Atal Innovation Center? in some way?
So one of the things that we encourage is, first of all, you can look at what are the community innovation centers closest to where you are. But otherwise, even if you're not, because of digital medium today, we can connect. We encourage everyone to have mentorship networks. So one is you can participate with them as a mentorship network, as a part of the mentorship network. And if these community innovation centers would like to work with you on a particular idea, they are free to do that. That is up to them. So the list of community innovation centers is already on our website. The addresses and the contact information and all is there. And if there is any specific thing that you would like to share, you can please send a mail to me, and I will be very happy to connect you to the appropriate community innovation center or the closest one to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So, good evening, sir. This is Kanakadurga.
Yeah.
How during this latest recent package, fund of funds is allocated where they need support, but actually the earlier fund itself could not be utilized to full extent. How you are going to ensure this fund of funds is going to be utilized to the full extent and really needy is supported and hand-holding is done?
See, in all of this, from my point of view, whenever there is an innovator who is in need of funds, that is available. Now, the question is whether we have enough. So this is why we are setting up this innovation ecosystem and awareness. You see, in our country still, the appetite for taking risk through innovation is still low, and we want to change that. And unless that mindset changes, that people think that yes, I can be an entrepreneur and I can get supported, because there are many mechanisms available for supporting entrepreneurs today. There are funds available, there are organizations and incubators available, there are research institutions which are also encouraging startup creation, whether it is CSIR or DSIR and so on. So how do we spread the word? How do we spread awareness? And secondly, how do we also train our people to become entrepreneurs? Because the training is also important. So many universities, for instance, are today, all the AICTE universities, All India Council of Technical Education, they have set up innovation cells in 1,000 of their institutes, and these are conducting regular programs, entrepreneurial training programs, and innovation programs, so that people understand what it takes to become an entrepreneur. And also, there are many training programs on the various schemes that are available by the government to avail of that. So there has to be awareness building, there has to be training and skilling that is required in an entrepreneurial world. And at the same time, one has to see the distribution mechanisms are existing, and the government is constantly looking at how we should increase this distribution mechanism. So take, for example, these 100 incubators that I talked about, 70 of them are operational today. These are all perfect places. If you want to become an entrepreneur, go and approach them, say that this is a startup idea that you have, this is what you would like to do, and have that idea validated by the incubator, because they have experts to validate that idea. They can also tell you that, before you launch a startup, why don't you do a pre-incubation stint, because your idea will get sharpened. Many people may just have an idea, but they may not know how to go about it, or whether this idea is already existing in some form. You need to be aware of all of this. Sometimes we think, oh, this is such a great idea I have got, but actually that has already got solved and implemented somewhere else. So this is also important. Validation of your idea across the customer base is as important as anything else. And so these are all the things that an incubator would facilitate, and one should avail of them. And yes, the grant has, it's a large amount of money that has been given. So people should see how they can use it. The MSME industry should very actively think, should very actively involve. So for example, the gentleman who said, I have a lot of ideas for innovation, and we are like an idea tank. You should connect with such idea tanks to see how, some of the ideas, which some people are very good in ideas, some people are very good in implementation. So that combination has to happen. Then automatically all of this will be taken care of.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your good advice.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
My name is Hamid. I'm from Hyderabad. And in my circle, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, very clearly.
Yes, sir. So in my circle, I have few businessmen in mining and other fields. And due to this recent change of events, they were looking at how India can be self-reliant without depending on few of the manufacturings which they import from China. So he would like to explore may it be pharmaceutical industry or manufacturing field, a particular field where they can work on so that India can be self-reliant without importing many things from China. So if there are something like that, what would be the fields which I shall ask in my circle, in my business circle, so that they can put their time and efforts in such fields?
So, in fact, in every field that we have, there is a huge dependence in the pharmaceutical field, for example. API, we are still dependent on China and many other countries, which we don't need to be. If you look at the semiconductor industry, the components in the electronics industry, many of the components can be designed here, manufactured here, rather than go depend on China, Taiwan, and so on. If you look at agri-tech or precision agriculture and so on, there are many things that we can do here. Even in terms of value-added food products, why do we have to import cheese from somewhere else? We have one of the largest dairy producing, we are one of the largest dairy producing country, or maybe the largest dairy producing country. Why do we even import any cheese and so on? Why can't we create value-added products from our own country? So there is a huge opportunity, according to me, where the MSME industry can play a role, whether it is fruit jams, whether it is new derived products from various fruits or vegetables, whether it is auto components and so on. So I think if you just look at the 4 or 5 industries like electronics, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, auto and electric vehicles, and if you look at the transportation industry, all of these are very good candidates for reducing your imports, and so you should look at this opportunity. And I think if you go to any of the websites, there would also be the defense industry, for example. Our defense industry imports so much, and in most of the countries, defense becomes the primary organization for economic growth of the country. I mean, America exports more defense than anything else, and therefore they are economically so strong. So why can't the defense needs of our country be met from within? And those are the opportunities. In fact, we launched 13 IDEX challenges, innovations for defense excellence challenges, along with the government Department of Defense. It has had tremendous response, and we are having protective armor equipment, radar-based detection systems, and so on, which are being now created in India. So the Make in India opportunity is huge, and especially in component manufacturing and so on. So one should see how one can leverage all of that.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Good
Thanks for the
afternoon.
information.
Good afternoon. I'm Anuradha calling from Chennai. I have two
Yes,
questions, sir.
Yeah.
The first question is, you talked about the 56 challenges. Where do we get to access this? Is it available on the URL?
Yeah, it is. It would be there in the Atal Innovation Mission website. You please look into the ANIC challenges, Atal New India challenges, it is called.
So if you can just put it on the chat. The other question is, since I'm calling from Chennai, is the community allowed to access the school in Atal Center?
So Atal Tinkering Labs are set up in schools, and one of the requirements that we have is every Atal Tinkering Lab should also provide access to a few set of schools in and around that school who don't have an Atal Tinkering Lab. And
Okay.
so that is definitely, and every school does that. So that there would, of course, you'll have to talk to the school management and make sure that there is a timetable, and the schedule and whatever security requirements that schools have are also being met. But most of the schools, almost all the schools of Atal Tinkering Labs, provide access to neighboring schools who don't have an Atal Tinkering Lab, so that the students can come there and learn and tinker and become innovators. the Atal Community Innovation Centers will have as an integral component a community tinkering lab or an advanced tinkering lab. And so we are encouraging all our Atal Community Innovation Centers to set up an advanced tinkering lab so that that access can be provided to not only schools around that community, but also to colleges and to ITIs in that community.
That would be on the semi-urban areas, not in the cities, right, sir?
In the cities also, like I said, all Atal Tinkering Labs are providing access to 8 or 10 schools in and around that location.
Okay, and how do we get these addresses of the schools which has got the Atal Tinkering Lab? Is it available on the website?
On the Atal Innovation Mission website, you can see the Atal Tinkering Labs. What are the list of schools who have Atal Tinkering Labs?
Thank you very much, sir.
Ramananji,
Yeah.
very good afternoon. Bhavesh Kothari here from. How are you?
Bhavesh, how are you?
Good to see you here. Sir, I have actually a question. See, we run a platform for women entrepreneurship. Now,
Okay.
at AAYOG, we have something called as WEP, right? Women Entrepreneurship Platform.
Yeah.
So, are there any specific schemes that have been earmarked, dedicated for women entrepreneurship? That's the first question. The second question is, we are also looking at putting together a virtual incubator, because COVID, I'm sure will not allow a physical engagement, up till the next 3 to 6 months, because of social distancing, the fear factor, right? So is there a provision where we could be able to maybe collaborate with NITI Aayog or WIP, and how we could be able to do an access to maybe some resources or some support in from NITI Aayog?
So, Bhavesh, two things. One is the WEP platform of NITI Aayog is like an aggregator of women entrepreneurs. And it is a website where all the women entrepreneurs of the country, or many women entrepreneurs of the country, have registered and logged on. So there are two people. One is successful entrepreneurs who are part of this platform. And second is aspiring entrepreneurs who want to become entrepreneurs and who want to be guided and mentored by the successful entrepreneurs. We also have on that platform a number of agencies who are supporting women entrepreneurship in some manner or the other, and they would be willing to support either a startup, or they would be willing through their CSR funds or through other funds that are that they can channelize. So you go to that platform and register yourself. It's just a simple log on screen, provide some details about your entrepreneurial interests and so on, and then you are connected to a fairly large platform of potential people with whom you can connect to and help build up your entrepreneurial idea. Now, the schemes for women entrepreneurship are many in the country. There are different organizations which run women. Like, for example, MyGov has recently launched what is known as the Shakti Challenge only for women startups and women MSMEs and women entrepreneurs. And that is a challenge which is currently on. If you log on to the MyGov website, you'll know that on this scheme, women entrepreneurs can get an award, and they can get some grants for them to start up their women entrepreneurship. So that's an example. Atal Innovation Mission itself, we have 3 women-led incubators. One is ALEAP in Hyderabad, another is AIC, ALC again in Telangana, and then we have Banastali, AIC Banastali in Rajasthan. And we have more than 650 or 700 women-led startups in our ecosystem. So we strongly encourage, we want at least 50% of the startups to be women-led startups, because it is a great opportunity for them. There are many educated women in our country and who have great ideas and who have done very well, and so we want to encourage them. So these are all the things that are there. If you have any, in terms of the virtual incubator that you talked about, yes, I think virtual incubator is a good concept, but for me, a virtual incubator is not as good a concept as a virtual startup, because a startup could connect themselves to one of our existing incubators in a virtual manner and be supported by them. And whenever it is needed, they can physically go there to the nearest, I mean, something which is in close physical proximity will also be useful for them. So we encourage our incubators, Atal incubators, to have virtual startups who they support from. So, for example, we may have actually an incubator in Bangalore, but they may be connected to a startup in Delhi. Why? Because they are, it's a biotech startup, and they may be providing some services and capabilities which will be relevant to this biotech startup sitting in Delhi. So we tell them to register with these and provide value addition. So, these are the possibilities. And in terms of the virtual incubator, you can send me a note on that and how you visualize a virtual incubator, and then when one can look at it and discuss.
Perfect, sir. I will reach out to you on this. Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, sir. This is Abdul Rashid.
Yeah, Rashid.
We have designed a machine to harvest a water quality. It's a solar based, remotely controlled. And this our innovation has been shortlisted by the United Nations Development Program and the Birla Global Innovation Challenge. But we are looking for a pilot project and the financial support for this machine. How can we get it?
First is, I think, please send a note on that to me. My email ID is r.ramanan@gov.in, and then I will have somebody look into it. And if we need more details from you, we will do that. But I mean, this is one way of addressing it. But I think also, please run your idea. I mean, where are you located?
Bhopal.
Bhopal. So we have an incubator in Bhopal. So I'll connect you to one of our incubators there, and you should probably meet them and see. And then we also have, I think, identified some community innovation center in that area. I don't know whether it's Bhopal or somewhere in MP. So I'll connect you so that if your innovation is applicable there, then that will be very useful.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So this is Hema from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are from training industry. We train for soft skills teachers, motivation, and corporates for various activities. So I would like to get connected to this platform. So can you just give us an insight about it? And also, I'll be glad if you can share your email ID in detail so that we can note it down.
Yeah, so my email ID is r.ramanan@gov.in. It's simple, so you can remember that. But we have a number of incubators and tinkering labs in Hyderabad. So I think the better thing for me is to connect you to one of them, or you could look at our website and see which are some of the incubators. For example, if you're in Hyderabad, I don't know, in the training area, T-Hub is already one of the also the Atal incubators. You should talk to them or meet them. And there is WE Hub. I can connect you to them too, and some of the tinkering labs. So it's easy for us to connect you to some people so that you can have a local discussion there and see how to take it forward.
Okay, thank you so much. And can you please repeat your ID little slowly so that I can make a note of it properly? r.raman@gov.
R.Ramanan, RAMANAN @gov.in.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Hello,
Thanks
sir.
a lot.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Soumya from Millinova Foods, sir, from Hyderabad.
Okay.
I'm a associate secretary for the Telangana State Secretary, MSME, sir. So it's a glad meeting you, sir. Sir, I have one question that we have started our company as a Millinova 2 years back, sir. So it's an innovative product, basically millet, fruit and vegetable combination product. We have already entered in the market. We want to spread our market to the different places, sir. So how can we connect with you? We already taken the acceleration training program and all, and we connected with the incubation center, IIMR and all. That acceleration training and everything is over. from this platform, how can you suggest we need training and mentorship and marketing guidance, strategic marketing guidance? Please guide us, sir. How can we move forward to expand our market?
So I think I'll connect you to A. We can also talk to them. Dr. Ramadevi is there from A-Lead, A-L-E-A. It's an incubator.
Okay.
A-Lead. Yeah, and you can check up on the website also. And you please connect with them and let them know I had suggested that you should meet them and see how they can help you in taking it forward.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir? Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Rakesh. Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Rakesh. I'm calling from Surat, Gujarat. I'm running my own IT company and having 75 of employees. And we have just started our NGO, and it is self-funded. And we want to associate for entrepreneurship, development, and innovation. We have a good domain knowledge in textile industry and diamond industries. And they have some problems. And recently we are associated with one of the homeopathic college. So how Fresh NGO can associate with the AIM?
So NGOs can associate with AIM. I mean, whenever we open up any application, you can apply for any of those initiatives that I talked about. Okay. But however, if you want to connect with an existing incubator or with an existing, we have some social innovation incubators also. And so, you can send me the details of that and I'll see how I can connect you.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir. I'm Sulaksh from Calicut, from Kerala.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm just looking for, do you have any incubation centers in Kerala?
Yeah, we have. You can,
where is it?
It's there. I'm not able to immediately locate the address. But otherwise, Maker Village in Cochin is a very good incubator. And we have Amrita TBI, correct. Amrita.
Okay, we're looking for something like Palghat, in Palghat area or somewhere.
In Kerala, everything is so close by, whether it is Palghat or Trichur or all these places, it's 4 to 5 hours distance. So I think Cochin is closest to in Palghat, and there are some. I think there are 2 in us in Cochin.
Sir, good afternoon. This is Mohit Jain from
what we do.
Yeah, I can take one more question as I have to go for another meeting. So if you don't mind, but please send me all your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer later on offline to any of the questions that are there.
Sir, this is Mohit Jain from Lucknow. We are a training and entrepreneurship development center at Lucknow. So we want to get associated with AIM. Whom do we connect with in Lucknow, in and around Lucknow?
Yeah, in Lucknow we have we are I think having a community innovation center and incubator. But please send me a mail. I will send you the details.
I will surely send you a mail. Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
I know in your busy schedule you have spared 40 minutes to 1 hour time for us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all participants. Thank you, sir. If you have any more questions, you can mail to this email ID. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.